This month we'll see the F1 season finale at the Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. For quite a while this track has hosted the final race of the F1 season, and it will continue to do so in the future. And I get it, it is a very rich city in a very rich country that gives a lot of money to F1 to host this race, and it's not even like they aren't doing everything that's possible to create an event worthy of an F1 final. But it is just not that popular, and I doubt it will ever be as popular as other traditional final races. Sure, they made changes to the layout and I appreciate that. It is now a lot more fun to drive here, but I don't know if the racing will really improve. I mean, we have seen some awesome midfield battles here on the previous layout, and if we see better racing this year, I think it's more down to the new cars than to the layout. Before Abu Dhabi, we went to Interlagos for the final race, as many fans remember, and before that, we had final races usually taking place in Suzuka, and that was great as well. But before that, the final race was traditionally the Australian Grand Prix. Nowadays, the Australian Grand Prix is rather at the beginning of the season. In pre-COVID times, it was even the opening race. But until 1995, the Australian Grand Prix was in Abu Dhabi's place, as it was hosting the season finale. And we didn't even race at Albert Park, which is a decent track in my opinion, but back then we went to race in another Australian city, at the Adelaide Street Circuit. F1 raced here from 1985 to 1995. And we've seen some great finales here, be it the drama for the Williams team in 1986, where both of their drivers lost the championship to Alain Prost in dramatic fashion, or Schumacher's controversial first championship in 1994. But we've also seen great races here where championships were already decided. For me, the last race in 95 instantly comes to mind, as that was absolutely chaotic, with Coulthard crashing his Williams at the pit entry and Gianni Morbidelli in a footwork standing on the podium. Nowadays, the track is slightly shorter, as the part with Brewery Corner got cut away, and it is now used other ways and a popular part of the Australian Supercar series. Despite the changes, it still pretty much resembles the track from back then. It almost died with the beginning of the pandemic, as the Australian Supercar series didn't come here, but now it is back and still loved by many, not only Australian racing fans. Let's go on a quick hot lap around the modern Adelaide Street Circuit. After the hot lap, the first impression definitely is that this is a very, very short and tight track. Our lap time there was barely over 1 minute, and it should easily be possible to go below 1 minute, and I think that is a bit short. And now imagine the traffic here that will be absolutely horrible between Wakefield Corner and Hot Street. It's very tight and you might not get 2 laps in until the next car is in your way. Apart from that, it's your regular street circuit. At a couple of corners, especially the fast ones and the hairpin after the Brabham Straight, it probably needs a little more runoff, and oh yeah, F1 needs lower curves, but that shouldn't be a problem. Apart from that, it's kind of fun and satisfying to muscle a modern F1 car around this track. I don't really believe you can properly race here, but let's test this as well. Join me for a 5-lap race around the Adelaide Street Circuit. And here we are on the grid as Daniel Ricciardo for a 5-lap race on the Adelaide Street Circuit to see how the racing with modern Formula 1 cars would be, and well, off we go. And into the first corner, which is the first critical bit. and which really surprised me, as there was no major incident. I was expecting something very bad to happen into this corner, as it is, well, tight, but not really slow, and has these awkward curves, but, well, it worked, and now we are into the bit with all of the 90-degree corners that you'd usually think like, meh, but it actually works quite well here on the Adelaide Street Circuit, as it has still kind of a flow to it. Now the long straight that is interrupted by the speed stick corner, and now on towards the Brabham Straight, breaking into the hairpin. We're trying to force our way past by being very late on the brakes against Lance Stroll, but he is taking a really tight line through the hairpin and, well, blocks us to make any move, as we almost lose the car here under braking, as we are going back on towards the horse racing track that is here. And Albon trying to gain from our mistake, which he doesn't, as into the final corner we stay ahead of the Williams and are now setting after Lance Stroll once again. But, well, from the first lap, I think maybe here this could be an overtaking opportunity into Wakefield corner, but, well, you have to force your way past, and even then Lance Stroll on the outside, now having the better line into turn 5, I believe it is. Yeah, so this wasn't really working out very well for us. So we have to try it here after the Brabham Straight into the hairpin, but he gets the better exit, and there's now has kind of a gap to us, which makes it impossible for us to try anything into the hairpin. And now the horse racing track that begins here is also nothing where you can really overtake. Of course, we don't have DRS on this track, as it is not an official Formula 1 track that has DRS zones. And this is another interesting point. I think the DRS zone would be probably here on the start-finish straight, but I don't think that would be of great use, but more on that later. As we are now trying once again into turn 3 Wakefield, where we tried it a lap earlier, and this time we are kind of blocking the inside lane here so that Lance Stroll can't go for the counter-attack, and this actually worked. So now we are setting after Fernando Alonso in the Alpine ahead of us. I believe it is Alonso, maybe Ocon. It may be Ocon, but well, that's not the important thing. Who is the car ahead? The thing is the racing here really good? For now, I'm really having a hard time to find a way past any car. As well, you can see we are closing up and we can go quicker than the car ahead. Probably even, well, around half a second, maybe even, not an entire second, but once we reach him, I believe we will still have a hard time to find a way past. This is where we were overtaking, or we were trying to overtake Lance Stroll, and it worked on the second time, but we're not close enough right now. And the thing that is now very crucial is to get a good exit out of this one here, which we don't, as the Alpine much earlier on the throttle, and now leaves us without any chance into the hairpin once again. And then here, the DRS, I think you can only open it, you could only make the DRS zone after speed stick corner, and this would probably be too short, so it won't be of real use into the hairpin. So I think racing and overtaking here is pretty much impossible with modern Formula 1 cars. As we are now heading into the final lap, I believe, trying to find a way past the Alpine, but he's just too far ahead. Now we almost try to go around the outside, but well, no chance pretty much into these 90-degree corners, as we probably need to be alongside to make a move, and the straights are just too short. Now another attempt on towards the longer straight, but again the Alpine gets the better exit, and I believe we're still too far away to make any sort of move into the hairpin. We're trying, we are late on the brakes, but no chance at all. So he will keep his position, and well, honestly, from here on there is not really anything you can do. So we will finish that race in P8, I think, is where we are right now, as we come across the line after our 5-lap race. And well, what do we take from that? Racing is a bit of an issue here, you really have to force your way through, and yes, we didn't have DRS here, but I honestly don't see it being of great use on this track either. Maybe on the pit straight, which is a little short to get around the car ahead, and the problem with the long straight is that there's a speed stick corner in which it would be too dangerous to use DRS, and the remaining bit of the Brabham straight ahead of the hairpin is too short for DRS to have any effect. And then we already have a decent venue in Australia. The Albert Park circuit has seen some good racing in the past, and with the changes and the new regulations, the racing there was good as well, and we've seen some great battles there. So I don't see any point for F1 to go back to Adelaide. It is amazing for Australian supercars, and as long as it is alive there, I'm happy. Adelaide is still a great racetrack. Formula 1 has just outgrown it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to not miss anything on this channel. I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.